Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and being a producer of Wrestle Massacre as well as Inside Movies Galore, I am David Streggy, and welcome to Delusions of Grandeur. Enjoy the reviews. I certainly did.
Okay, Dave, that's it. Screw you and your college flunkies. I've had enough of this from you and from everyone else. I know what you guys are trying to do. Break me down, drive me out of the force. Well, it's going to take a hell of a lot more than a lame prank like this to get Curtis Mooney to throw in his badge, so fuck you. Over.
So, hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to Delusions of Grandeur. I'm your host, David Streggy, and here I have some light coming into my room because I'm moving stuff around so that I can try to find some movies, or at least one movie trilogy that I am missing. But I'm going to share with you some mail and some new films in my collection, as well as some films that have already been in my collection. So, the first thing that came was, let's see if I can show you, Momo, the Missouri Monster t-shirt, and a poster that came with this documentary. I have not pulled it out yet, but give me 1 second here as I pull it out. And actually, it looks like there are two posters here. So, the first one looks like that. And the second one, is the poster for Terror in the Skies. So that's kind of exciting. And then, what else do I have in here? Yes, this little poster says, "Back the Kickstarter." So it tells me to back the Kickstarter on 2/6/2020 for On the Trail of UFOs, which is the next. And on 2/6/2020 also is two more documentaries. So evidently the same Kickstarter for the Mothman Legacy, the Mark of the Bell Witch, and On the Trail of UFOs is all on 2/6/2020. So I guess I'm supposed to be looking out for that particular date. And of course, and this is from, as you can see, Seth Breedlove. Small Town Monsters, P.O. Box 803, Wadsworth, Ohio 44281. To me, And here is Momo, the Missouri Monster. This was the second second documentary that came with the Kickstarter for Terror in the Skies and Momo, the Missouri Monster. I put roughly about $80 into it because I wanted to get like all of this shit that came with. And once I picked once I paid those off, then I went and found out what some of the other documentaries were. Found some of them on eBay, and some of the rest of them I found on Small Town Monsters itself. So the website, and I still have to pick up On the Trail of Bigfoot. Um, but I I think Seth Breedlove is an amazing put together of these documentaries. I think they're very well put together. They're very professional, and there's not a whole lot more that you could do with the films. He puts a lot into them, a lot of information. But in any case, let me go down below and pick up a couple of movies here that I had actually just recently picked up at Walmart. So these two this last weekend I had actually picked up at Walmart. Unfortunately, it took $50, 50 bones out of me. But for $22.99, I think, I bought the new Aladdin, the Blu-ray DVD digital code, you know, with Will Smith, and actually enjoyed aspects of that film. I mean, they changed it somewhat. They added some songs, but all the it was basically. Um, I mean, it was directed by Guy Ritchie. Yeah, Guy Ritchie. And he kind of made it his own a thing by having different things happen. I mean, granted, it was a beautifully shot movie. I mean, it took a little bit for Will Smith to, I think, fill the huge role that Robin Williams had actually filled to begin with. But Will Smith had his own humor, and being a comedian himself, he has his own style. And I think that's what he brought to the film. So, um, obviously, the genie is kind of the character that, brings the movie forward, and kind of the thing that everyone, a character that everyone remembers from the film. So, the other film that I picked up is apparently my fiance had actually picked this film up like several weeks before. But Godzilla, King of the Monsters. This was almost like a Destroy All Monsters kind of a movie because it had Mothra, it had Rodan, it had King Ghidorah. These were all creatures that I grew up on from the Japanese culture. And they were just, all of them, phenomenal in here. I mean, I do think that Godzilla was a little bit too beasted up for my tastes. I'm not sure I entirely like his look. And I know he got his look from the previous film before this, not Shinzilla, but the previous film before that. And he's always got a certain look, and to me, I don't know. I'm I was just not liking this look for him. So, yeah, there we have it. Godzilla, King of the Monsters. And I guess the one of the performances in here that I thoroughly enjoyed was the young girl who played in Stranger Things. She ended up having a role in here. I think her name is Millie Bobby Brown. So that's who I think it is. Millie Bobby Brown. So upgrading. Some upgrading that I did was I went to the 25th anniversary of the Goonies. Um, and that is a thick copy, eh? That is thick. And this has the map on the inside. And then, of course, it's got the Blu-ray. What is this? This is official collector's edition. This is 150 photos and art tell complete movie story. Stuff like that. Looks awesome. And then, of course, there's a board game. Or at least it comes with a board game. And then, apparently, this has got some storyboards in here. I'm just going to pull them out for just a moment. And then maybe I'll take a look at the... I just want to... I mean, I suppose I could... Lost treasures, deleted scenes, and storyboards. Of course, there's some stuff on the back of some of them. I believe we're now back at the beginning. So, but yeah, some storyboards of the film, which is kind of amazing. I mean, it would be interesting if they went back to the story, but I don't think that they could use the giant in any way, shape, or form. The creature, because I believe the actor for that actually died not too long ago. So if they would have wanted to return to the movie, they should have returned to it like some time ago. So I don't think that they'll be doing much of anything. All right, let's see if we can't put this away. This is a thick thing. And then, of course, the board game. So I'm going to pull this out really quick, if I can. And, yeah. So, I'm not even going to open this at this moment. But the board game is inside here. And I'm going to keep it kind of pristine for right now. You know why? Because we can use Tammy's. But in any case, there we have it, the 25th anniversary Blu-ray set. And I thought that this was amazing to look at. It's also thick, so I'm not sure exactly where it'll go, but it'll go somewhere. So, there we have it. The 25th anniversary Blu-ray set. Alright. What else do I got here? Stick that there. Okay, so Jan Kaos, who does his own gore short films. He is a French Canadian from Canada, and I've known him for quite some time. But I ended up getting his first first short film, I believe, which is Wrong Dose, Bad Reactions, from a friend of mine, and I looked him up, and I ended up becoming friends of a sort with him, and I've been collecting his editions of his films for quite some time. I've also got some music of his around here too, but he ended up putting out an anthology of all of his gore short films just recently, and I have number 2 of 50. Yeah, he made 50 copies of this. So Jan Chaos Gore Short Films Anthology. And this has Wrong Dose, Bad Reactions, Meat Butcher Baby, Melt, The Kid, Le Veuve Noir, Killing, Moonblood, Blessed Are the Sick, a Ceremony in Blood, Meat Butcher Baby 2, I believe, Blood Snuff, and Death. And another copy of Meat Butcher Baby. And according to this, it says short, violent, bloody, and gory. Some of the short films have never been released before. So, there we have it. That's, I believe, his own art on the thing. And if you look, it says 2 out of 50. So, that was kind of cool. Let's see, what else do I have here? Ah, yes. This was one of the earlier Kickstarters that just recently came out. This was another one that kind of pissed me off because they waited until after the film was out to send the Kickstarter rewards. That is not how it's supposed to be. You're supposed to get the rewards way before The public does. And I am pissed that these studios are making them do this. It is unfair, but um, this is The Night Sitter, and let's see. A con artist poses as a babysitter to steal from a wealthy occult enthusiast. One of the kids she's sitting unwittingly summons a trio of witches known as the Three Mothers. And this is number, if you can see, 22 out of 26. And it is directed by John Rocco and Abiel Brun. So I watched it. I thought it was actually pretty good. I liked the characters involved. Um, I think the special effects were pretty cool. Um, which since most of them were practical, anyways. There was, I think, some CGI, but it was very minimally used, and for, I mean, I guess I just really like the character of Elise Dufour. She's very hot for a youngling actor. But she came across as a very cool babysitter, like the kind of babysitter that I wouldn't mind having. She was just slightly bad because she'd rather steal from the place that she's sitting under than actually, you know, care. Well, she actually did care about the kid, I think, especially towards the very end. And I think she was starting to have second thoughts. So that's a little postcard that came with the film, and that's got the Three Mothers on it. So, The Night Sitter from Roller Disco Massacre Productions. So, yeah. So that came in the mail not too long ago. So this is the second Kickstarter thing that came within the last week or so. So, anyways, so next I have two more gore short films, and I have not watched them as of yet, but they sound interesting. And let's see, they're put out by a guy by the name of Gorefilth. And the first one is called Genital Gore Birth Mutilation. That's what the cover looks like. It's a printed out thing. And according to this, it says a genital gore birth mutilation. Shot, produced, basically everything by Gorefilth. A VHS transfer was done by Keith J. Crocker, and it says 2019 horrific home movies. Must be 18 years old or older to own this vile, disgusting Z-grade trash. So that is the first one. And then I noticed on his page that he had released a new short film called Backyard Gore Torture. So there's the front of this thing. And then, of course, Erica Renee Starcher and Gorefilth star in this, I guess. It's a VHS transfer from Keith J. Crocker. It was produced, shot, and directed by Gore Filth. Yeah, from Horrific Home Movies. Chaos@yahoo.com. So there's some more. So, but yeah, I ended up getting those. No, I ended up buying a movie, and this is a 2 disc copy of this movie. Um, as from Todd Ernest Bailey, um, Todd E. Bailey, and it's called Silence. I mean, yeah, they're printed, but this is a 2 disc thing in a thin pack. You know, I mean, he really does go all out with this thing. I actually picked this up on eBay, and it says on the back here, Caitlin Wilde is a regular young woman. She has a great job, good friends, and a family that loves her. A tragic turn of events will test the relationships of them all when Caitlin is brutally attacked in her home and now must deal with the effects of this horrific, heinous crime. Uh, this dramatic journey will take you into the lives of those who are affected by sexual assault. From award-winning director-producer Todd E. Braley, creator of Misfits, Surviving the Undead, and Jaws Fanatics. This film stars newcomers Elizabeth Larsen, Frank, Emily Dotson, and Maddie Mora, as well as many other up-and-coming talents. And Todd Braley is behind the production company Infinity Media Productions. So that is his specific company that he necessarily produces. I really liked the look and feel of this movie. This movie is called The Nanny, and I love the cover of this thing too. It says, "Watch the children." In this dark fantasy, a mysterious nanny is put in charge of an inquisitive young girl, Noah, and her little brother Michael. When Noah becomes suspicious that her new nanny, played by Jamie Murray, could very well be an evil fairy from a dark underworld, she pleads her case to anyone that will listen. As Noah seeks answers and hopes to reveal the true identity of her eerie caretaker, she finds the truth is much more twisted than she could have ever have imagined. And this is directed by Joel Novoa Schneider. Um, but yeah, the film stars Jamie Murray, Nicholas Brandon, Nick Gomez, Jaden Harris, Christian Ganeri, and Shyler Fisk. So, what's next? So this is one of the other films of Small Town Monsters that you can no longer get on their site. I actually found this otherwise. I actually found this on eBay. This was one of the ones you can actually find on eBay, and it was like $15 or so. And it's called Invasion on Chestnut Ridge. And it is signed over on that side by the director. And it says, tagline, "In a place shrouded in mystery, a force from beyond our reality arrived. Small Town Monsters presents a cocktail of weirdness," says Lauren Coleman. "Spine-tingling, mysterious educational at heart, and that's from Michael Filippo from Horror Society. Mystifying and downright unsettling, and that's from D.C. McGannon, The Monster Guys. So, in southwestern Pennsylvania lies an expansive mountain range called the Chestnut Ridge. Though a home for unusual activity since the 1800s, the area has been largely overlooked until now. From Small Town Monsters and directors Seth Breedlove, Minerva Monster, the Mothman of Point Pleasant, comes this eerie examination of a 72-mile window into the bizarre, featuring the accounts of hair-covered man-apes, monstrously large birds, upright walking canine creatures, mysterious lights in the forest, and unidentified flying objects that wreak havoc on the local populace. Invasion on Chestnut Ridge is a cocktail of weirdness. This film takes you into the heart of one of the great mystery areas in the world, beginning with the Kecksburg UFO incident of 1965 and ending in present day. This is the ultimate guidebook to Pennsylvania's hidden history. Features a making-of documentary, Invading the Chestnut Ridge. So, there we have it. Invasion on Chestnut Ridge from Small Town Monsters. That is awesome. So one of the reasons why I tracked some of this stuff down is these were some of the other films. All right, so these two, the Bray Road Beast, which this one is signed, and it's directed by Seth Breedlove, of course. In the early 1990s, a rural Wisconsin community called Elkhorn was at the center of a series of real-life werewolf sightings as local reporter Linda Godfrey began her investigations into the Beast of Bray Road. Other reports from around the country and soon the world began flooding in. For the subsequent 3 decades, the Beast of Bray Road has been the most infamous Wisconsin resident. In their 7th film and 3rd feature-length documentary, Small Town Monsters takes you on an in-depth exploration of the Dogman phenomenon. From the eerie back roads of Wisconsin, the fields and villages of Europe, sightings of upright canids go back centuries, but is there more to these sightings than simply misidentifying of known animals or a hidden species of wolf? Prepare for the ultimate journey into the dark side of cryptozoology as the Bray Road Beast uncovers a secret history to the subject that touches on everything from the occult to ancient wolf-like beings with hidden knowledge. Coming October 5th. So, there we have it, the Bray Road Beast. Here's another one that is signed by Seth Breedlove, and it's called The Flatwoods Monster, A Legacy of Fear. The Flatwoods Monster, A Legacy of Fear, is a new documentary from director Seth Breedlove, which will unlock a decades-old mystery that included a government-ordered military examination of a purported alien crash site and multiple UFOs seen by countless residents of Braxton County, West Virginia. In the years since their brush with the Flatwoods Monster, Witnesses have seen their story evolve from a terrifying true life event to even more than a fable. Now, two of the remaining witnesses will set the record straight. The Flatwoods Monster incident has become one of the most famous legends in modern memory. However, with the Pentagon now opening up the UFO investigations dating back to the 1940s, the incident can be seen in a new light. In September of 1952, hundreds of people across the United States witnessing glowing objects streak across the skies over much of the eastern seaboard. One of the objects in question was seen to land on a hill near the small community of Flatwoods, West Virginia, by a group of children. The children and two adults made a journey to the top of the hill to search for the object, but instead found themselves face to face with a 13-foot tall mechanical monster. Later that same evening, a branch of the local National Guard unit would be dispatched by Air Force officials to investigate the site of the encounter. So there we have it, the Flatwoods Monster, A Legacy of Fear. I liked the documentary, that particular one, because it had like a 1950s kind of a feel. So here we have the Mothman of Point Pleasant. This is one of the ones that I had actually picked up from the actual site itself. And this says, with Horror Hound Films, 13 months that changed history. In this feature-length documentary, learn the terrifying true story about 13 months that changed history. In November of 1966, a car full of kids encountered a creature unlike anything they'd ever seen. In the weeks and months to follow, the monster, now known as the Mothman, was sighted again and again on country roads and around the state of West Virginia. As the sightings continued, so did an increase in unusual activity. At the center of this bizarre series of events was the town of Point Pleasant, West Virginia, a small burb situated on the banks of the Ohio River with a lengthy history of what many might call bad luck. Over the next 13 months, Point Pleasant would undergo one of the strangest outbreaks of paranormal activity the world has ever seen, an outbreak that eventually ended up in tragedy. The Mothman of Point Pleasant is the fourth documentary from Small Town Monsters, exploring bizarre creature sightings from around the U.S. and their impact on rural communities. The film is narrated by Lyle Blackburn and written, produced, and directed by Seth Breedlove. Includes myth to reality, bringing the Mothman to life, a mini documentary on the making of the film, which is about 22 minutes long. And this film runs about 71 minutes long. So there we have it, the Mothman of Point Pleasant. That is nuts on it. So next, I ended up picking this up at Half Price Books, I believe, and it's called The Sound. And it stars Rose McGowan, Michael Eklund, and Christopher Lloyd. Kelly, played by Rose McGowan, is a writer and skeptic of the supernatural. As a specialist in acoustic physics, she uses low-frequency tactile sound waves to debunk reported paranormal activities for her blog. When presented a new case of supposedly haunted subway station, Kelly sets out to uncover the truth behind the hoax that involves a 40-year-old unexplained suicide. Her investigation takes her deep into the abandoned station where her skepticism is tested. As Kelly descends into the depths of the metro's darkness, she is confronted by an unseen evil. In the vastness, she must face her own haunted memories to find the truth and surface back to the light. This was written and directed by Jenna Madison, with Orion Pictures and Samuel Goldwyn Films, as well as Lower Bay Films, with North Hollywood Films and Weather Vane Productions. It is also associated with Cheshire Smile Productions and Clearback Films. So yeah, the sound. I kept thinking how old Christopher Lloyd looked and sounded. What hole did they find him creeping around or something like that? So, last few years or so, Nicolas Cage has been creeping in the independent field. Um, and I liked him in this film. He played, for some reason, a peeping Tom-ish kind of a character. And this has Nicolas Cage and Robin Tunney in a film called Looking Glass. So, a psychosexual thriller following a couple that buys an old motel in the desert, looking for a new beginning, but what seemed at first as an escape is soon a thrilling ride through a mysterious world when Ray, Nicolas Cage, discovers a two-way mirror and witnesses a horrifying murder. In a twisted game of cat and mouse, Ray must race to save his wife and himself from a gruesome secret connected to the motel and the strange people who visit there. I actually kind of liked this one. I like both characters as an actor and actress. So, and this one was, let me see. It was directed by Tim Hunter with Highland Film Group and DTLV Cinema Society and Silver State Productions. Working with Goldfinch Australia Limited. So maybe it was actually filmed in Australia? So here we have a film directed by Julius Ona. This was a film that was that worked with Paramount Pictures, with Bad Robot Productions, and Netflix, since Netflix has become a studio these days. So this was also from producer J.J. Abrams, called The Cloverfield Paradox, and this is the third film in the series of films related to the Cloverfield incident. Producer J.J. Abrams takes you deeper into the Cloverfield universe than ever before with this mysterious sci-fi thriller. Orbiting Earth on the brink of a devastating energy war, scientists prepare to test a device that could provide unlimited power or trap them in a terrifying alternate reality. Starring Gugu Mbatha Raw, David Oilawo, Daniel Bruhl, and Chris O'Dowd. The Cloverfield Paradox is the ultimate journey into the unknown. So, I've actually liked the last two, and I've liked bits and pieces of Cloverfield itself. Some people actually do not like Cloverfield, even though it was kind of a hit for most people. it's because it was a found footage film, the first one, and you rarely could see the monster. Well, I saw the monster, but two other people that I know, at least, did not see the monster, and they didn't like it so much. So, in any case, I thought the last film actually tied it kind of all together. So next we have the second film that introduced me to this director, and this director goes by the name of Tom Nagel, and I like that he uses some of his family, but this is called The Toy Box, and I don't know that many horror films that have to do with or around an RV. So this was entertaining for me. An estranged family with Denise Richard from Wild Things and Stormtroopers goes on a summer vacation. Recently acquired with a recently acquired used RV. Along the way, they pick up Samantha, Misha Barton from the OC and The Sixth Sense, and her brother. After driving into the middle of nowhere, the RV takes on a mind of its own, crashing and stranding them in the scorching and isolated desert. Little by little, the unsuspecting group is blindsided by the terrible secrets discovered within the walls of the RV and find themselves fighting to survive. So there we have it, Nagel's, and there are some pictures down below there that you can check out. And I actually enjoyed it. I thought it was campy. I thought it was entertaining, and I just love the fact that he suggests that an RV can be haunted, and that is one from like the 1970s. I remember what they looked like. So here is a film that oh, this is the Toy Box, not the Toy Box, but the Toy Box. This was from before. This was put out by Maverick Entertainment Group. It was a Leopard Film Entertainment and Brand New Films Productions, and it was written and directed by Paolo Sedazari. And it it won Best Independent Feature Festival of Fantastic Films, and it won for Suzanne Bertish Best Actress for Hertfordshire International Film Festival. Um, there and it stars Elliot Jordan, Suzanne Bertish, and Claudine Spiteri. The playtime is over. The Toy Box is a darkly humored, psychological, disturbing slasher set in England's deep and dark countryside. As young children, Bernice and Brian Usher created an imaginary world inspired by a cherished book on local myths and legends. Years later, Bernice returns with her psychically sensitive boyfriend for a holiday gathering with her neurotic family. An unsettling reunion with Brian and the overwhelming sense of impending evil disrupts their family holiday. So there we have it. This is the Toy Box, and this is way before the other Toy Box. So this is a film that I had actually picked up from um, Half Price Books, and I could tell that it was an independent film, and it was It looks like what's called Brackenmore. The close-knit community of Brackenmore is harboring a secret. After the untimely death of an uncle she never knew she had, Kate, played by Sophie Hopkins, is forced to return to her ancestral home, a tiny rural village in the south of Ireland. Soon after her arrival, she meets Tom, DJ McGrath, a mysterious young local who helps her to rediscover her long neglected roots and forget about the anxieties of her life in London. The longer Kate stays in Brackenmore, the more she begins to realize that the eccentricities of its self-protective residents, suspicious of any newcomers, may be more ominous than she first thought. A story of festering family history and enigmatic traditions, Brackenmore is a suspenseful thriller that weaves together the exploration of occult ritual with complex human relationships. This worked with Kerrog Lake Films and Upstream Films and Carrie ETB and Catherine. It was a Catherine Lane production, but this was written by Christopher Kemble and Brian Tellez, and it was directed by Christopher Kemble himself. So this was distributed by Synergetic Distribution with MVD Visual. So there we have it, and it kind of reminded me of like Wicker Man, kind of ish. On that note, so next I have a Blu-ray combo DVD of with Emilia Clarke and Martin Kosaka's in a film called Voice from the Stone. I really liked this film for some reason. This was a haunting tale thriller set at an isolated castle in the 1950s Tuscany. Voice from the Stone tells the story of Verena, a determined young nurse who is hired to help the mute young heir within. But the more she observes him, the more Verena becomes convinced he has fallen under the spell of a powerful and otherworldly persona trapped in the villa's stone walls, one that seems to be rapidly entwining with her own. Like I said, I really enjoyed this film. It was very cinematic. I loved the camera angles in this film. I loved the performance, and I loved the artistry that came from the sculptor that lived at the castle. He was the father. It was the character of um, Martin Kosakas. He just brought about an eeriness to the role. In any case, the last um, collection I found online, and it the cover is starting to fade, but this is something amazing that I found, and there's not that much that I can find about this company. It's called Sarawak Media Corporation, and it's got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17 Studio Ghibli films on here. It's got Laputa, uh, a Grave of the Fireflies, Whisper of the Heart, Monoka, Princess Monoka, Totoro, Nausicaa, The Kiki's Delivery Service, Porco Rosso, The Cat Returns, Howl's Moving Castle, Tales from Earthsea, Spirited Away, Ponyo, My Neighbors, the Yamadas, Pom Poko, Air Yeti, and Poppy Hill. So I'm just gonna I'm going to assume that this is a professional bootleg because there is not much about this that is more known, although it is kind of nice that they're not printed or anything like that. It actually looks like they were factory made. So I'm going to say that this is a professional bootleg and leave it at that. Now, I have watched uh, at least the first disc and most of the second disc. I haven't watched Nautica yet. And supposedly with Nausicaa, that one's got Patrick Stewart in it, and I'm going to check it out. I'm in the process of watching that one, and I'm working my way through the Studio Ghibli studio stuff, um, partially because there's so much to get to, and I love that this has all the Japanese. This has both Japanese with English subtitles and the dubs. So that this right here is like the best collection of Studio Ghibli that you could possibly think of is out there. So yeah, um, I really liked. I mean, out of all of them, I've liked all of them so far. So far, in some way, shape, or form. I mean, but the most sad one, the saddest one was Grave of the Fireflies. But if I had to pick a favorite, I would have to pick Laputa, the Castle in the Sky. Um, so far, my favorite out of the five that I have seen, that is the one. And then second, the one that comes in second is Princess Mononoke. So, in any case, thank you for listening. Have a great day, evening, or morning, wherever you are. Appreciate your time spent on the page, and thank you so much. I am just love in describing the films and sharing with you what I have gotten with all of you. So, thank you so much for listening. Have a great day, evening, or morning, wherever you are, and I'll have some more exciting films to share with you as the week progresses. I know I have a few more boxes on the way. Um, I know I've got tons of boxes to get through to get everything done and back into this room. But I have a ton more to share with you, and I just completely enjoy sharing it with you. Thank you so much.
You were good, kid, real good. But as long as I'm around, you'll always be second best, see?